What else? Write that down, everyone. Brilliant. You're both right. It means something, but what Malcolm said is perfect. It's with a purpose. That's exactly what I was looking for. All right? So now if we put it together, you're explaining things and adding details with purpose. How many of us might, just raise your hand if you might have been guilty before of adding things without purpose, just adding it, as Smith said, to make it longer. Bri, you with us, buddy? Put the book away, thank you. Bri, you ever add things just to make an assignment longer?
Maybe.
Maybe? Maybe yes? I'll throw my name in there. I've definitely done it. All right. So our focus today, our goal, is how do we use meaningful elaboration to develop a paragraph completely? Now, is there a set amount of sentences that goes into a paragraph? No, there's no, you don't open the rule book and a paragraph has 6 sentences. Now, did anyone ever think that at some time though? Yes. I've had a lot of people, paragraph is 5 sentences. No. Now what we're going to be talking about today is a specific type of paragraph. A paragraph that belongs in an expository essay. All right. So there is an amount I am going to be looking for. Anyone have an idea of how many sentences we're probably aiming at for these expository essays per paragraph? Think the one you wrote week 1 of school.
Maybe 6 to 10.
Yeah, it's a pretty good range. 6 to 10 is getting there. Definitely what we're looking at. But our key will be this, writing with purpose, as exactly as Malcolm said, writing with purpose. Okay, we're going to go ahead and go back to this prompt. Remember it? Ah, you're so excited. Yay! All right. This was from week 1, that first Thursday of the school year. I gave this to you and said, guess what? You're going to write an expository essay, and you all rejoiced. All right? This was what it was. So at the start of a new school year, it is a good idea to set goals. Think about your own goals, personal, academic, social. Now write to explain your goals for this year and how you plan to achieve them. Now, remember the week after what you had to do? What did you have to do with that essay?
We had to grade it by ourselves.
You had to grade it, your own essay. How many of you, the second time you read your essay, weren't as impressed with your writing? Oh, there's the statistic, right? You wrote it and you're like, this is awesome because I did what? You wrote a lot. Someone said, you wrote a lot. This is, then own it, Sierra. All right? You wrote a lot. You filled the whole writing booklet, period, done. This has got to be a good score because I wrote a lot. And then you read it a week later and all of a sudden you realized I wrote a lot of, we'll say, not as purposeful language, David. That sounds a little bit better. All right? So what we're looking for is how do you take this? Is this an exciting prompt? No. When I gave it to you, I fully expected heads to just fall on the desk, which happened. But we had to use this one. All right, so here we are. How do we take this and write meaningfully in an interesting manner to come up with an essay that has purpose and also, Bri, the answer's still not in the book, buddy. Thank you. All right, has that purpose and I can understand it as a reader. So what we're going to do is take this. Now I'm going to set my goal for the year. Okay, my goal as a 7th grader, all right, the only bearded 7th grader, unless there's another bearded kid I haven't seen yet. All right, this is my paragraph. My goal is to study more this year. Okay, so here's my paragraph. First of all, one of my goals is to study more. Last year I studied, but not enough. I know that if I want to do better in school, I need to study a little bit more than before. Studying will really help me out with a lot of different things. Okay, now Carson, give me one word to describe this particular paragraph. Average?
Sure.
Sure. All right. Somebody else give me a word. Shreya?
Okay.
Okay. All right. Bri?
Like bland.
Bland. Thank you, Brian. Thank you for being with us now. Bland. Yeah. There's not a lot of life to this. Now, if you remember, that second week, when you looked at your own writing, you had to use this rubric. We had 4 categories: focus, organization, support, and conventions. Raise your hand. Tell me which of those 4 categories did I say we need to focus on. Keon.
It was support.
It was support, and it still is. All right? Support, I said put a star. This is it. Substantial, specific, relevant, concrete, mature, freshness of expression, varied structure. Okay. Now these other ones were important. The rules, the organization, the focus. But we're going to focus today on support. I'm going to go ahead and tell you all the writing we're going to look at today, don't worry about conventions. Those are fine. This is somewhat important, but this is where I want you to draw your attention. Now, look at these words: substantial, specific, relevant, clear, mature. Now let's look at it carefully. One of my most important goals this year is to study more than I did last year. In the 6th grade, I studied, but probably not as much as I should have. I think that if I would have studied more, I would have had a better school year. The problem was that I don't really like studying, and there's other stuff I'd rather do. I know that I especially need to study for classes that are harder for me. That would really help me out a lot. Studying definitely has to be a priority for me this year. Go ahead, on your paper, you can write on here. Underline at least 2 things that are better than the first one. A place where they use better language. All right? Where they were more clear with their ideas. So again, that elaboration, that means something. Okay? And you can just put like a little check mark there to indicate this is a good thing I'm identifying. Underline, check. 2 things.